Yep.
Are we here?
We're live.
All right. I guess I'll do the hosting duties. Welcome to week 4, the final week of the wealth-based Beat the Compound Challenge. And I think is today the last day? It is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you guys can speak too. I don't know if you know that's why you have microphones. Hi, everybody. What's going on, Ben? How are you?
I thought that was a rhetorical question, Tendy Man.
No, the Tendy Man never asked rhetorical questions.
I'm the one with attendees here because I am crushing everyone. I just want to put that out there right now.
So
Ben's I've ever
Crushing
seen.
you noobs.
Ben's up 68%, which I was going to get to. So the average of the compound is 13.6%. So we've got 590 people that beat us and 2,400 that didn't beat us. So we crushed it thanks to Ben. This is like when Bill Gates walks into a bar, the average net worth is $2 billion because I'm down 50%.
I guess that means our median is negative 32%, which is Josh's return.
Ben, you bailed us out again.
Duncan, go to the PDF showing this week's top traded stocks. You guys ready for this?
Oh man.
But I just want to say first, we picked
I wonder what's in there.
We picked the perfect month to do this.
Oh yeah.
There hasn't been a better month for
This was literally, you're right. This was literally the best possible month we could have had. It was so much fun. I was YOLOing like every day.
So I was sticking to my boomer strategy until Tuesday. I said I got to get involved, and obviously I chose poorly. Duncan,
Michael relapsed and went on a 3-day trading bender and lost like 90% of his money at one point.
Duncan, go to this. No, don't. You go to the PDF. You have the PDF open.
You blew up in 48 hours after no trades.
I almost went negative yesterday. So yesterday I was the top performing on the entire app. I was up 790% yesterday, which brought my month-to-date total to down just 12%. Here we go. Thank you, Duncan.
Come out. Wait a minute. People think you're kidding. You were the number one performing account out of the whole contest yesterday, and you're still down 15% at that point.
Okay. So take a look at this. This week's top traded stocks, not surprisingly, Gamestop, AMC, BlackBerry, Tesla, and Nokia. This is my exact short portfolio. I'm short 4 out of 5 of these names. The only one of these my shorts that aren't on the list is NEO.
So after Wednesday, I think your
Oh no, I'm not short
really...
GameStop. By the way, I couldn't short GameStop. I'm sorry, I couldn't short GameStop. They wouldn't give me the borrow.
You're lucky. You were down
in the
90%.
paper account.
You were down 90% at one point. I
almost went negative. That would have been something.
Have you ever gone negative equity? Have you ever gone negative equity in real life in a brokerage account?
No, I've never blown up. I have never blown up.
Do people even know what that means in real life? I've been negative equity.
So what? You owe them that amount?
I've seen other people's accounts go negative equity all the time. Yeah.
So if you start with 100 and you lose and you go negative 30, you owe them 30 grand on top of the 100.
You were short AMC.
I'm sure
the firms I worked at wouldn't even close the account because if you close the account, then they have to try to collect the debit. Like they would hire a collection agency, the brokerage firm. Like I've seen negative equity accounts where the firm just writes it off.
Could you use a credit card to pay it off?
No.
Duncan, go to my portfolio.
I've seen them not even close the account. Just it'll be like negative $500. They'll just be like, all right, leave it alone.
I'm short AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, NEO, BlackBerry, and Tesla. So my chart is wild.
Dude, that was. How did you
this week? I mean,
how did you pick those? How did you do your stock selection on these?
Have you seen yesterday? I mean,
so you just whatever everyone's talking about that's up huge, go short.
I'm short them all.
Okay, Duncan,
go to my performance. And then we'll get to the real stud of the show, which was Ben.
That's amazing. But I think it's a cat.
So
what formation is that chart?
On Wednesday, I was down 90%. Yesterday, I was up 800%, and now I'm getting creamed again.
Dude,
this is
by the way,
isn't
this the purpose of a simulator? Like this,
yes.
I would never, ever, ever, ever do this in real life.
That's the whole point. Why would you trade? Why would you trade in a simulator the way that you normally would, unless it was like a training exercise?
Right.
If it's just for fun, then have fun. I don't know. Let's talk about Ben, because this and my account are completely embarrassing. We could talk about mine or not later if you want, but let's go to the winner. So Ben, you're almost top 100.
Oh, look at that.
Super impressive. What did you do right?
It was
Technicals?
Dividends? Is this dividends?
Wall Street bets. Wall Street bets. So I had a couple good picks. Penn and Airbnb were up like 25 or 30%. But last week when the Wall Street bet stuff really started heating up, I bought at AMC theaters at like 4 something, and then on Wednesday it was up 220%. And I'm like, okay, this thing's either going to keep going up or it's going to get killed. And then Monday, right when the market opened, I closed it out and I took my profits and walked away. I haven't done anything since. So it was all
Dude, you crushed
thank you,
it.
Wall Street bets. Yes.
You crushed it. But you did well in other stocks besides that. You're up 25% in Airbnb. You're up 27% in Penn. And you had some other closed trades that worked.
Which, by the way, I told Michael Josh, I think that the online gambling thing is going to be huge. When you guys get that, I tried it last weekend.
Why?
It is so much
because
fun.
how much fun? Because how much fun this is?
Well,
or you're
that's
saying
part
just
of it.
on its own?
That's part of it. It's just you have it on your phone in your app, and it made the NFL games more entertaining for me doing that, even though it was not that much money I was putting in.
My kid's asking me to get that app, and I really don't want to start him down that road. I think it's a big mistake. But
Which app?
If all the like FanDuel, everything. I don't do any of that shit.
We can't do that yet. We could do. I think we have access to DraftKings.
Well, whatever he wants. He
You
wants
could do
to.
daily
He
fantasy
sees the
sports.
he sees the commercials.
Yeah.
And you watch a football game. There's a commercial for that more often than there's a beer commercial. I'd rather my son see beer commercials at this point because all he wants to do now is daily fantasy stuff. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going there. He's 11 years old. It's a
it went
huge mistake.
online. Online gambling went live in Michigan last Friday, and my social media is just bombarded with ad after ad for doing this stuff.
Yeah.
People are gonna. This is the next money loser.
In New York, you can't do the sports book, but you can do the like daily tournaments, that kind of thing.
So you could do DraftKings. No
You can do
FanDuel.
FanDuel too. It's just
Oh, you can?
sports book isn't available. That's like
Right.
their actual gambling kind of.
You can't take games, but you can do fantasy for money.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Basically.
Yes.
You
So
can do tournaments and stuff.
yesterday, this is obviously the perfect month for this simulation. Yesterday in the leaderboard, we had people up like 400% and 500%, like multiple people.
Yes, a lot. I think
Let's
I probably need.
can we put the leaders up?
So I see two
we have
people
that?
right now with 400% gains.
And the leader, Trevor, he only made 11 trades.
The person in third
so
place
what-
has made 5 trades. That means they haven't done anything, so they've just held on the entire time.
What do they
own
hold?
I'm sure they own GameStop.
Oh,
Yeah,
Evan Picker,
Evan Picker owns GameStop. Yep.
GameStop, Palantir, Baba. I don't know the others.
So here's number 1. Here's Trevor.
Let me see this kid. At Swiper, no swiping. Trevor, good job, man. What does he have? He has all the Robinhood stocks and Discovery, which looks like it had a huge run, or at least today it's had a huge run too.
Duncan, why don't we talk about what you did?
Yeah, let me see the Duncan portfolio. Pull that up. Yo, for those of you who don't know, Duncan is the official producer, editor, director, just the cinematic visionary behind the whole Ritholtz cinematic universe, and creates all of our shows and works on the podcasts. And he's our Spielberg, and apparently he's not a bad trader. Let's take a look at this
Yeah, I
portfolio.
think my high. I think I was in the 500s at one point. So that was
Okay.
Like my peak. That was my
What did you
Where
finish
are you
at?
now?
Where are you now?
Let's see. Where am I? 798.
It's pretty
It's
good.
amazing.
798.
I never cracked the top 1,000. Not to brag.
I think I did that thing that. I think I did the thing that you hear people talk about sometimes, where I didn't concentrate enough. I just like had a bunch of holdings. And
You're
so
trying to
it's
stay
like-
rich.
Yeah, I was trying to be diversified. and-
What
So
did
you
the
traded a little
average?
bit.
What did the average player do versus the S&P? Did we like
I
the
got it right
average
here.
player in this game
Yeah.
doubled it?
The average player was 7.2. So we got 1,700 people above, 1,400 people below.
I would also like
Set
to
some-
mention that Wealthbase did not close down trading yesterday in any of the stocks that Robinhood did. Credit to them.
No, well, all credit to them, but I guess I couldn't borrow GameStop to short. So they prevented me from going negative probably.
Which is
On
probably good.
Wednesday-
I mean, what is the borrow rate on that thing? 50% now, probably. Or does it go down as the price keeps going up?
I would think that the bar rate's got to be jacked up.
Right. I don't. Okay, so let's leave it to this week since we've been talking every week. Craziest thing that happened this week. Because there's so much craziness going on. I want everyone to say what is their to them. What is the craziest thing that happened where you're like, oh my gosh, this floored me.
Most surprising thing,
having people up 400%, Ben, is pretty flooring, right? Like
That was crazy.
that's crazy.
No, but I think Ben means like
I'm
more
saying
broad in the
with
market.
everything that's happening this week in the market.
I mean, this was all shocking until Robinhood pulled out. To me, like Robinhood pulling out is probably like the most shocking thing in a crazy week.
What could they have done worse? Do you think?
I mean, how many calls did they have yesterday with the VCs berating them? They had to. That's all they had to hear all day yesterday. Like they could not have handled this any worse.
You know what they could have done if they really wanted to? They could have like released everyone's social security numbers. Like just started tweeting. I'm trying to think like what they could have done worse. Maybe the CEO wears a Trump hat. Like I'm trying to think like what they could have possibly done.
And it wasn't just them. There were other custodians that were doing similar things, but I think it was the lack of communication, the way that they just seemingly were liquidating some people's accounts. Was that confirmed, by the way? I saw screenshots. Is that what
I doubt that.
There's no way.
People were saying that. I was wondering if those were fake.
Well, there were screenshots, but I have no proof that those screenshots are real.
But the craziest thing to me is this whole thing doesn't get off the ground without Robinhood. Robinhood started this. They got this ball in motion, and then they're the ones who effectively tried to end it or ended up on the losing side somehow. That I never would have expected in a million years that they would be on the losing side of this. Their brand is tarnished forever from this, I think.
Hold on. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? Why the fuck is Steve Cohen tweeting at people in the middle of the day? What is that really him? Like verified? That's him? What is going on?
More proof that money doesn't change who you are.
No, but he was not ever that person. He avoided the internet since it started. You've never seen him do CNBC, be on the internet, nothing.
If we take a step back, this is Mark Zuckerberg's fault. Without social media, none of this happens. Jon Stewart yesterday created a Twitter account for the first time to get in on this. Everybody's in.
Is this the bull case for Twitter here?
Steve Cohen, who beat like the FBI and the SEC, is tweeting about GameStop. What the fuck is going on? Why is he doing that? To what advantage? Because he's worried about Barstool coming after him? It's almost too much.
How about Ja Rule and Ben? That was a good interaction.
Dude, yesterday was the scene from Infinity War where like or maybe the other one, Endgame, where just like Black Panther shows up and Guardians of the Galaxy show up and literally you should have seen my DMs. Like people like, come do my show, come pop on this, come pop on that. I'm like, really? Nickelodeon wants to have a conversation about this?
Right. How often
are you sure?
How often does the market ever jump into pop culture lexicon? This is extremely rare because you're seeing takes from everyone on this, and most of the people should not be talking about this because they don't really know what's going on. But my mom has been calling me this week asking what's going on. It takes a lot for that to happen.
I put this on my Instagram. This is actually one of my favorite parts of this. The speed with which blue checkmark Twitter started to lionize the Reddit message board traders. I was saying, like, can you imagine if the people on these Reddit boards on Wall Street Bets were speaking the same way they do there on Twitter? They would be canceled immediately. A million cancels. But now they're being treated like the Sandinistas, like they're freedom fighters.
Well, think about
the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Every corner of the internet was defending day traders. Did you ever think that would happen in a million years?
AOC and Ted Cruz in alignment.
Sure. You know what else is interesting? I watched the Andrew Left video this morning. I actually feel bad for him, how he got caught up in this. I shot him a note. So he was basically like, I started off as the rebel and now I'm the establishment.
That's the irony, that he's the establishment. He was I don't want, is pariah too strong of a word? He was an outsider.
He was like the original just psychopath. Like he was like the Joker. When he showed up to tweet about a fraud stock or whatever, It was like Heath Ledger. Let me. Want to see this pencil disappear? Like slamming someone's head into it.
His Valiant shit against Ackman, he was the outsider.
Now he's Ackman. So not in real life. So he gets that though, and I think what's interesting is a lot of that has to do with market psychology and where we are in the cycle. I think because a lot of the Wall Street Bets guys idolize Burry. Burry was a short seller. Like I know he owns GameStop,
message board guy.
But he was a message board guy, but a short seller, and so this whole anti-short seller crusade. Like I feel like they maybe watched Too Big to Fail on mute. They don't quite know what's going on. But so I think after a crash, the short sellers and the bears are the heroes. But then after a 12-year bull market, the people who have taken the biggest risks and made the most money are the new heroes, right? Elon, Cathie Wood.
The big long.
Like the big long are the new heroes. And then when we do eventually have a crash, assuming that's still legal in this country, maybe there'll be people that were calling out GameStop and AMC as shorts. Maybe they'll become heroes again. I don't know. I don't really know if that could work this time.
I don't think so. Interesting thing is like it's obviously always impossible to predict the short term of the market, but it's also impossible to predict where the outrage is going to come from, what's going to spark it. Like who would have ever thought that coiled spring of outrage, and this is all, inequality and 2008 stuff still simmering, that it happened in GameStop. Like who would have ever predicted that in a million years, that this would be the trigger?
Nobody. That's why it's so great. That's why it's just so legendary and just so
really
epic.
Is. Yes.
It's one of the most fun weeks. I'm doing this 21 years. This is one of the most fun weeks I can ever remember. And I've seen some shit already, but like this is just epic on every level. I might pop on Sesame Street to comment on this. Like I'm saying no to almost everything. I'm doing one thing tonight, which I'll announce later.
Oscar the Grouch is for sure a short seller, right?
I'm not looking to be the face of this because I have nothing to do with it.
Do you think Robinhood will give everyone like a share of GE to make everything okay?
I think they're going to have to do something.
GE would be a mistake. Give everybody a Dogecoin, and I think that might help.
Whatever they're going to do, it's a band-aid on a gunshot wound. It's too late.
Well, I mean, I don't look too deeply into this, but are we proving that some of these young tech founders just aren't CEOs and shouldn't be? This is like a case in a lack of leadership.
Well, this is crisis management. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a little bit too harsh on Vlad, but they're not prepared for something like this.
It's not all Robinhood though. Even if they had like whatever guardrails in place that people were yelling about, right? Elon Musk just added hashtag Bitcoin to his profile, and Bitcoin went up 18% in seconds. That has nothing to do with Robinhood. What do you want from them? So like a lot of this activity. What's that?
He
didn't really
get in trouble.
He didn't say anything.
Who has the authority to do anything to him besides God at this point?
Right? I don't know.
Like the Martians maybe might sanction him. I feel like he does whatever he wants.
And I initially thought that they would the regulators would come after these guys. I said that on our podcast earlier this week. And now after all of this groundswell of support, there's no way the SEC can go after these guys.
Which guys? The traders?
The Wall
posters?
Street Bet. I thought maybe they would try to make an example of them. And I thought it was possible that could happen. And there was some talk about it, but at this point, there's no way they can go after these guys.
It would be such a bad look.
I think they're untouchable.
If they didn't put the bankers in jail in 2008 and they go after the Reddit people today, uproar.
There might be riots.
You guys don't even understand. The funniest part is yet to come. You don't even understand. There are going to be hearings in the House. So the House Financial Services Committee is going to get a crack at Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, amongst others, maybe even Plotkin. You don't even understand that literally the best is yet to come. They might bring this Roaring Kitty kid.
Excuse me,
to explain.
Excuse me, deep fucking value.
No, it's
deep fucking value. Can you address? So Maxine Waters is on that committee. I think she might lead it as the lead Democrat. I know this guy Patrick McHenry, who's on that committee, who I've had on my podcast. But they're going to get a crack at this whole story, and I'm sure CNBC is going to run it in its entirety. That's going to be, to me, the most epic day, especially if they bring some of these Wall Street Bets people to just explain. Not that they're in trouble, but just tell us what's going on from your point of view.
So I think
Can you imagine Roaring Kitty sitting next to Ken Griffin?
I
in
need
this
it.
in this hearing.
I need
right?
it.
You know,
And Steve Cohen, inject it into my veins. I have to have it.
I think not to maybe open a whole can of worms, but two things can be true. I love that people are getting a slice of the pie that normally never had a taste of it, but I also hate the absolute gamification of what's going on. I think it's dangerous. I think that it destroys trust in an already fragile system. So I do not like what's going on with these names, with these stocks, but I understand that it's cool that these people are getting a taste.
What don't you like? That you feel that people are learning to gamble rather than invest, and they're gonna blow themselves up eventually.
It's not
'Cause
even.
that's how I feel that way.
I mean, that's a part of it, but I don't. I'm uncomfortable with the system and the way that it's working. To see GameStop go up 300% a day and then down 60%, the fragility in the entire system, and I don't just mean the financial plumbing, but I mean like our country today. I'm scared of what's happening.
But do you think that that's confined to a subset of people using a small amount of their money?
No.
Like you can't really think that the entire middle class in America is making six-figure wagers on GameStop. You know that that's not really what's happening.
Wait, I never even said anything close to that.
So where's the fragility come from if you have 500,000 people gambling, day trading?
I do agree with Michael.
Come
about
They
that.
on,
always
come
have
on.
that.
Are you fucking kidding me? 500,000 people? It's so much bigger than that, Josh.
No, but you think there are millions of people who are at risk of like wiping themselves out?
I'm
I
not
don't.
talking about them being personally at risk of financial wipeout. There's 6 million people in Wall Street bets, not to mention all the millions that aren't in Wall Street bets. And the fact that it's
Right, but if they're in there, Mike, if they're in there and they're doing $1,000 trades on Robinhood, who gives a shit?
dude, the money is not the point. It's trust in the system. This is not a fucking game.
Right,
Wall Street is not a
the
game.
The people coming in now are going to be the ones that if they end up holding the bag and losing money, they're going to be like, "See, it was all rigged against us." And then
Right.
if they never
That's
come
true.
back,
Okay, that's a good point.
So that's what I'm talking about. They're like,
If you show up late to a stock that's gone up 1,000%, you show up late, you buy it, and then it gives it all back because the herd moved on and you don't know what you're doing.
and then it's like, see, it's rigged.
Okay,
That's the
Okay,
part of it that
I
I
agree.
don't like.
and then they never
these
come
are
back to the
adults.
stock market because the system is
What
against
do you mean
them.
these are adults, Josh?
What
Kids.
do you want to do? What do you want to do? Mike, they're not
I'm not-
kids. You can't be 16 and open a brokerage account.
You can't be 21?
No, you could be 18.
Okay.
And you could be 18 and up.
By the way, I don't want to
People
overgeneralize.
could be these people could be in the army, dude.
I understand there's people all over the place, but there's a lot of kids that are going to it's all not good. And I don't want to sound like an old man because I think there's aspects of it that I love, but there's aspects.
You were born an old man.
I was
You were
bald when I was born. There's aspects
Benjamin
of it that I
Button.
love, and there's aspects of it that I do not care for.
I totally agree with you. We don't disagree. I just feel like people are not risking as much money in these trades as you think. I think you see the extreme examples, people posting
I'm not even
large
talking
trades.
about-
Most
I'm-
people aren't doing it.
I'm not even talking about the financial ramifications
I
of
think
of a 22-year-old kid losing $2,000. I don't care about that. I'm talking about something bigger than that.
But I think
thought
it's
this was
interesting
that
At the beginning of the year, people were worried about Robinhood gamifying investing, and that kid lost his life because of it. And then now, yesterday, people are arguing that Robinhood should allow people to gamify it. So it's people talking out of both sides of their mouth that they don't really understand the implications. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I think if you're a columnist and you do like opinion shit about the stock market all the time, like 6 months ago, you were like, this is bad. But now you see the herds of people that are into it and you're like afraid to have that opinion anymore.
Right.
So now you're just like, let them trade. Let them do whatever they want. How dare you put any kind of limits on their but that's the nature of being a public intellectual, is like knowing which way the wind is blowing and not, and making sure that if you're talking for likes and faves, which is what these people do, making sure that you're on the right side of the issue, even if you completely do a 180. So that's just the nature of that game. I don't know. I'm not worried about those people at all. All right. Anything we missed on this?
$20 billion in mark-to-market losses for hedge funds or for shorts in GameStop. I mean, how?
They're the dumb money. They're the dumb money on this. The hedge funds are.
I saw a lot of people have been asking about, and I know you've already kind of explained it in other formats, but I think it'd be helpful if you guys could do like a Cliff Notes version of exactly what this 140%, short meant to begin with? Because I'm seeing a lot of people asking about that.
Ben, you want to take that? What was Melvin Capital doing in a stock that had more shares borrowed than existed?
So the idea was like when you short a stock, you immediately sell it, and you're effectively like you're borrowing the stock, and then you sell it, and you're effectively creating another one. So if it's 140%, that like there could technically be 200% of the shares that are available because you're shorting them. You're creating new ones basically because they're borrowed. So that number may have been a little high than people were letting on, but regardless, that number was still way higher than it probably ever should have been. Like the risk controls these hedge funds had, they were obviously very just lax in what they were doing. So again, I think they look like the dumb money here. Like the fact that if you don't want a short squeeze like this, guess what? Don't short that many shares of a stock in the future.
Yeah, I also think the Wall Street Bets crowd learned a lot from Tesla, and they lost a lot of respect for the expert class because they would read these articles in the Wall Street Journal about how Tesla's demise was imminent, but then they would talk to their friends or people on the internet and hear about how many orders were being placed for Model 3s, and they would just be like, what these educated automobile industry experts are saying does not line up with what I see in my real life. Like, everyone I know is obsessed with Elon Musk and Tesla, but people from the auto industry keep telling me that his business model can't work. And they saw the dissident side win out, and it became a self-fulfilling prophecy because the higher Tesla went, the more they could sell shares and fix the balance sheet issue. But I think once the internet and Wall Street Bets and day traders in general watched that phenomenon play out, they said, the emperor has no clothes. These experts are not actually experts in anything. Anything is possible. Just watch Tesla go up 8 times, 8x in 1 year. Tell me what can't happen again, right? Tell me what's not possible. So I think a lot of this stems back to just having a company go from being universally despised on Wall Street to becoming an S&P component and one of the largest market caps on earth inside of like 3 years. And once you've seen that, I don't think that you respect experts and authorities as much as you used to, especially if you're in your 20s, right? It's so punk rock what's going on right now. They don't respect any of the conventions of Wall Street. They don't care what they're being told by TV channels. And I think Mike said this the other day. I think Mike said this the other day. This is the new way it is. I think there's a lot to that. I think it's a moment. It's a big moment.
Agreed. I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. So here's what I want to say. If Trevor Fletcher or Chris Fitzsimmons or Evan Picker, I don't know who's going to win. This thing ends at the end of today. If any of those 3 gentlemen are interested in jumping on a Zoom with Michael, myself, and Ben, we'd love to rap with you guys. Maybe throw you some of our personal money to manage going forward. But the invitation's open, and the folks at Wealth Base will help us make that happen.
Someone asked, how are these winners going to get their gift cards?
We have nothing to do with that.
Through Wealth Base.
Oh, it's through Wealth.
Yeah, we don't. We're not allowed to touch. We're not allowed to see or touch any actual money. We're not. That's not. That's
so if
not
you're a
us.
winner, Wealth Base will be in touch with you, I guess, on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the last thing I want to say is we had so much fun. We want to do this again over the summer, and there's going to be a twist. We're going to do it for charity, and we're going to have the winners be able to pick a charity, and everyone that joins the game is going to help us raise money, and we're going to take all this fun and we're going to turn it to philanthropic ends. So that'll be something that we'll do. Give us some time to plan it. But we love the fact that you guys were so enthusiastic about the game. Thousands of you commenting, trading, sharing, being on there, being on here. So thank you guys so much. Thanks to Wealthbase for inviting us to do this with them. And I hope you guys had as much fun as we did. And congratulations to all of the major winners on here. I'm truly impressed. Truly impressed. All right, Duncan, take us out.